Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Finishing the week right, Pat the designer, Jason McKie. J-Mac bringing a phenomenal topic to the pod today, going through and giving our team awards for what we saw this season. We're talking MVP, offensive players, defensive players, who was the most improved, who was the rookie of the year. There's a lot of great rookies to pick from in this class. All that and more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Today's episode, as always, brought to you by Underdog. Make picks, win money. J-Mac, what's going on, my guy? You got the you repping the NFLPA today. There's a lot of smoke for the NFL.
Hey man, it's a shirt, put on a shirt. News comes out, of course, news comes out. They think I'm sending a message, a subliminal message. No, I just picked the shirt up and put it on, but then obviously some news comes out, as always. In the NFL, it's always news every single day. Good news, bad news. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the world, the way of the league in the off season. And hopefully, for the league in its entirety, and for the players especially, man, all season's crazy times. It's it's be safe, man. Guys are on vacation, doing different things, and it's always a matter of like the coaches would always tell us, hey, be safe, be smart, enjoy your off season, come back rejuvenated, and we need you back in one piece. And I just send that out to all the players that are on vacation and all the teams and stuff like that. Be safe and get back in one piece so you can have a good season.
Yeah, man. Listen, you got a lot of money. You can have a lot of fun with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's you have a lot of fun. Be careful out there.
Yes,
you know what I mean? We don't need too many more James Pierce situations going on. I tell you what, seeing that video, I see why it was so hard to stop him off the edge. That boy, 9 cops, Jay, that is crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's I don't want to comment on it too much, but that's what I mean.
Right, let's move on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just be smart, be safe, man. Please. Like it's a crazy world. It really is.
Yeah. 110%. Listen, let's jump into this because I thought this was a great topic that you brought to the table. Giving awards to the guys within the team, and there was some of these guys that in our hearts, Ben Johnson is the coach of the year. So we got that one already. I mean, the fact that we've got somebody who can set the tone in that manner and bring so many good things to this team, that's coach of the year in my book there. But I love the fact that you're going through offensive and defensive players on this because we saw a lot of good from this team overall. So let's start off on the offensive side, J-Mac. Who's your MVP of the Chicago Bears this season?
The team or offense?
Oh, you were separating. I was giving a little offensive, defensive, but we can. No.
It's all separated. So I had team MVP overall, regardless of offense or defense.
Yep.
Offensive MVP, defensive most valuable player. You know what I'm saying? Special teams most valuable.
Let's go team overall.
So team overall, man, and I said this before. I had the opportunity to go on. My teammates, Jeff Joniak, obviously the voice of the Bears, and Tom Thayer, who I do a call of the game with, and we went through this a couple weeks ago. But I'm glad we get to do it, Pat, and give our Chicago Bears podcast version of our Player of the Year awards. And my team MVP goes to the man himself, the guy I call the mayor, right? The voice, the culture builder in that locker room, the guy that has the heartbeat of the locker room, the guy that every time he stands up to that podium, right, he admits when things aren't going the right way, right? So he accepts criticism, right, and accepts praise, but is always content and even killed to make sure that his guys are doing better. And I'm not talking about Caleb Williams because he did do those things, Pat. I'm talking about my guy, Kevin Byard. Congratulations. You're my team MVP. 7 interceptions, Pat. First team All-Pro. And like I said, he was the vocal leader of this team. And I felt like when he spoke, everybody listened. Why? Because he's a guy who did things the right way. He led by example. He led vocally. And when he spoke, everybody listened. Yeah. And he's a guy that, played in all 17 games as well. So that speaks volumes. And I'm proud of the year that he had. I know he's a free agent, so I hope they can sort those things out because I think what he meant to this team overall in its totality, and not just from a defensive standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint, was invaluable and really helped propel the Bears to the playoffs this year.
Hey, I think there's a ton of leaders to choose from. Kevin Byard's a great name to have in there. It's so interesting because this offseason is really going to see kind of where the Bears value talent and upside versus having those leaders in the locker room. And I think that's a tough situation for you to be in. Jaquan Brisker, know he's talented. Maybe the Bears are a little priced out of trying to pay him, but if he wants to be here, maybe they can work something out, but you probably can't work it out and keep Kevin Byard. I would rather have the leadership of this team, keep moving this team forward, man. I love what KB brought on the same leadership tip, but also, very high in talent this year. My team MVP, it's got to be the protector of the year, the inaugural protector of the year. I think he changed everything but his team, J-Mac. I mean, I haven't seen an offensive line in Soldier Field since you were wearing a helmet. Now you got hand warmers and a jacket on the sideline.
Heated socks, heated gloves.
Heated socks, heated gloves.
Times have changed. Hey, times have changed.
We finally see an offensive line again. I mean, truly seeing Joe Tuni out there, and to me, what he brought to this team. And I think, maybe it's a little overblown, but as a fan of the team, as somebody who saw it a ton this season, the conversation he had about playing in the Super Bowl, being down 28-3 and being able to come back. Unfortunately, Grady Jarrett on the other side of that, but being able to come back in that Super Bowl, I think that's invaluable information for a young team, because there truly looked like there was never a disbelief that we can come back in this game. There always was a feeling of we're not out of this if we all stay in this together. And I think that derives directly from what Joe Tuni brought to this team. So for me, he would be my team MVP overall, because he's a man of very few words in the media, but I'll guarantee you in that locker room, when Joe talks, people listen.
Yeah, and I like that too. I like that pick as well. I thought about going there as well. But when you look at, in terms of bringing him in as free agent, it was a home run. And like you said, because of the leadership, because of the productivity, because he was a true multiplier, being able to elevate the play of that entire offense. He showed position versatility, playing guard and then playing left tackle in the playoffs, something he did when he was in Kansas City. Yeah. But like you said, a man of few words, but when he does speak, people listen. But he shows true leadership and true servant leadership by deflecting the attention back to his team and his teammates, right? And that's a rare trait and a rare quality that only special players possess. And Joe Tuni is one of those special players, and that's why he's been successful throughout his entire career. Every team he's been on has gotten better, not just as an offense or an offensive line, but as a team. And every team he's been on, right, has been in the playoffs or been in the Super Bowl. So it's like when you have a guy like that, that's just, you want to say has an aura about him, Pat, but is a true multiplier in terms of helping out a team in its entire organization. Like you can see why he was so invaluable. And so I respect that pick too, man. Joe Tuni's a great player. Glad he's here in Chicago.
Where do you stand on, if you're going to bring somebody back, or if you wanted a teammate back, right? Like, if maybe he's to a point where the talent isn't where it once was, but what he can bring as far as being a leader on the team. Would you rather have that guy back than the more talented player? Or are you saying hopefully the talented player can turn into and learn from the leadership that guy has had?
Yeah, I think it's all development. So when you're talking about having a guy who has the leadership qualities who may be older versus a younger guy who doesn't possess those particular leadership qualities, you just like you develop players in terms of, their fundamentals, you have to understand and learn how to develop leaders, right? What things can I do to help develop a leader, or what things can I do to help this young talented player become a more vocal and more of a leader by example in terms of his daily routine, in terms of the way he approaches his craft in the game and stuff like that. So that's why you got to have great coaches that understand how to get the most out of a player, not just in terms of his own individual talent, but how do you get the most out of a player in terms of being able to, bring out that leadership or those qualities and be able to enhance everybody around him. And some guys aren't comfortable doing those things. Like some guys aren't vocal leaders. Some guys are more quiet and lead by example, but as a coaching staff, you have to understand your players as not just players, but as people. And I got to know how to get them to tick. I got to know how to wind them up. I got to know how to bring the best out of them. And that's in its entirety. So it's like we talk about the things that we don't see from the media or from the fans in terms of being in that locker room every day, being in those meetings every day. The coaches have to be able to bring those things out of these players in terms of, I need him to be a vocal leader because he's a baller, but I need him to speak. You know what I'm saying? And I had Brian Urlacher was a guy who I felt was more of a leader by example, but when he did speak vocally, we listened because obviously he had skins on the wall.
Yeah.
And we knew, you watch him throughout his daily routine, he's doing the right things. And that's why he was one of the, obviously a Hall of Famer. Same thing with Olin Kreutz. Olin Kreutz was a leader by example, obviously a vocal leader, a hard-nosed leader, a culture builder, wasn't going to let details slip. And you followed that because he always did things the right way. He was the first guy in the locker room, first guy in the weight room, last guy to leave the practice field, last guy to leave the weight room, last guy in the meeting room watching film. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the type of guys that you need on your roster to help elevate the talent, because you're not going to have a bunch of first-round picks. You're going to have guys that get drafted late like a Kyle Manun guy. You're going to have guys that are undrafted. You're going to have guys like a Nashawn Wright that comes in, you got to count on to make plays. And you got to have guys that are elevators, multipliers, in order to have a really good roster. So, yeah, I think, looking at our roster in its entirety, and we're getting off tangent, but I feel like, this coaching staff has done a really good job of development in terms of the total player. And I think we have a bunch of players on this roster that really care about each other, that believe in this coaching staff, but believe in each other. And I think that's why, when you look at the future of this Bears team, the forecast of this Bears organization, it's very bright because you have a lot of these core pieces on the roster already. Now, where they're going to play, we'll talk about that, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Let's hope we get a bunch of them here. But at a minimum, right, the one thing that you hope that you can build is exactly what we talked about in years prior, J-Mac, and I feel like Ben Johnson was very aware of that. We want a team-led locker room. We want the players to be the ones speaking up. We don't want it to be, us in there every single day. We want a guy like Kevin Byard. We want a Joe Tuni. We want a Grady Jarrett. So I see those guys as invaluable pieces. I know the contract versus the production, although Tuni was phenomenal. But I think like Grady Jarrett and stuff like that, at times the contract versus the production, that's a lot of money for a dude that didn't have 15 sacks. But then
dude that was hurt most of the time too. He was hurt half the season too,
You also see the leadership that he brought, though. You know what I mean? I think he's a big part of that. So getting back into our award ceremony, as we started with the team MVP, who's your offensive player of the year, J-Mac?
So this right here, right? I'm going to go. It's a unit and a coach. So it's Dan Rochar and that offensive line unit, and the reason being, right? Look at this. And I'm going to go from left to right. Left tackle, Trapilo, Benedict, throw Tuni in there because he played left tackle as well. Left guard, you got Tuni, you got Dahlman at center, Jonah Jackson at right guard, big Darnell dancing teddy bear right out there, balling all year, right? I mean, you got a unit, Pat, yards per game. The Bears offense was 6th in the NFL. 24 sacks allowed. 24 went from what, 68? 68 to 24.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Come on. That was 10th in the NFL, right? 144 rushing yards per game. 3rd in the NFL, Pat, right? You talk about get off the bus running. That's exactly what this Bears offense did. 67 runs of 10-plus yards. We call those explosive runs, ladies and gentlemen. Explosive runs. 3rd in the NFL, Pat. It's a beautiful thing, man. When you have that run game, you layer it with that passing game, you get those explosives. And, hey, Caleb Williams was my runner-up, and I know, J-Mac, what do you mean he threw for 3,900 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Whining about it.
There's going to be somebody in the comments that's going to call me out, and I appreciate that because you keep us on our toes. But this is the thing, guys. When you comment about J-Mac, offensive line, Caleb Williams was the player of the year, he couldn't do none of that without the guys up front, without the Hawks.
I agree with
that. Give them their just due. I mean, just the number alone, Pat, the sack totals, like from 68 to 24 is like, man, Dan Rochar, offensive line, all my guys, the big hogs, I salute you guys. It was a joy watching you guys, seeing you work on a daily basis. I loved it. Coach Rochar, you're the man. Respect you. Bears offensive line dominated this year.
It's crazy when you see a coach like Philly let their offensive line coach, right? And he's arguably one of the best offensive line coaches, arguably one of the best coaches from what I've heard around the league in football, for people that have played for him and been around him, and just his football mind. And it's a weird feeling to go, man, I don't need him. I would love to have him, but like I don't need. I got Dan Rochar. Dan Rochar's out there scheming it up. I'm good. I don't need a new offensive line coach. Like, We haven't been in that position. Well, we've almost never been in that position outside of, again, when J-Mac was on the field. The one thing I would push back on, though, J-Mac, and I am going with the Iceman.
Of course you are.
Offensive player.
Of course you are. I knew you were. That's why I knew.
Here's my reasoning behind it. Right, I agree with everything you said. Right, with the offensive line. Listen, you know, I've been beating my chest banging the table, I should say, for an O-line for years with this team. I've been begging the Bears to finally build one. They built one, and I almost shed a tear. And you know, Ozzie Trapillo and Darnell Wright were out there looking like bookend tackles, and tears were shed. It wasn't almost on that one. I was excited, but I think you have to have that player that makes it right when it, even in the perfect situation, things don't work out. And that was Caleb Williams, right? And those moments are very tough to overlook. When there were times when Jonah Jackson, right, missed his block, Caleb Williams was able to make it right. I saw the play yesterday in the top 100 plays. I think it was a top 10 play they had it as. The flea flicker to Luther Burden, and how that play, as you watch it, you're like, that's bad. Like, it should not have worked. And yet Caleb Williams was able to make it right. I think a player that can do that, to me, you don't have as many wins without that. You could have had a really good quarterback back there, but how this Bears team operated this year was trying to figure it out on the fly pretty much until the end of the season. And a lot of what we saw that was good was the offensive line is very much included in it, the run game, all of that. But it's Caleb Williams making Ben Johnson right for some play calls that we kind of went, are you sure about that right now? And it's Caleb Williams going out there and getting the job done. For me, I think that's offensive player of the year worthy. Close runner-up for me, though, was DeAndre Swift in that balled out on that in that running back room.
Say it again. Say it again.
A close runner-up was DeAndre Swift.
Good. I know you were before the season.
You can't deny the season he had. He balled out this year.
I just want to know, because we got receipts. We could pull up some old pods.
Listen, I believe all the receipts do include me going, you need an offensive line for this guy.
No, you know, some of them was, hey, J-Mac, I just don't know if he's good enough. He's not the guy, you know.
I mean, he also didn't run this good behind Philly's offensive line that helped Saquon get 2,000. Yeah. Eric Bieniemy needs to be in this conversation as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the good thing is, I think, you know, with you talking about Caleb and we're talking about these coaches, we talk about Sharp Bieniemy, like, it's awesome to see that this is actually an argument this year of who the offensive MVP is. Like last year, we're like, shoot, we didn't do nothing on offense. The whole offense is trash juice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there were so many weeks that y'all don't get to see where I text J-Mac and be like, J-Mac, I don't know what I'm looking at on tape. And J-Mac would text me back and be like, me either, bro.
Bro, last year, so many times ago. I'm doing the call of the game, and I'm like this calling the game, like, I'm like, what is going on? Like,
we go down to our sideline reporter, Jason McKie. J-Mac, what are you seeing down there?
A bunch of trash juice, Jeff. Back to you guys up in the booth. But no, that's awesome, man. It's good to, you know, we talked about this before the pod, Pat. It's good to go into an off season where you can actually stick your chest out a little bit. Like you know what makes it even better? Like, you know, I'm around a lot of my high school kids. Obviously, I coach high school football, and some of those kids are Packers fans. So yeah, I do make them do a little extra conditioning as a team because if they wear their Packer stuff in the building, which they're not allowed to, sometimes they try me. But the good thing is I get to say, hey, wear my Bears stuff a little proud, beat your chest a little bit, Pat. They're like, Coach, what about we'll be back next year? I say, yeah, but it ain't next year yet. So tuck your Packer stuff in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels good that we're actually talking about the Bears on a positive note going into the offseason and exciting. And it's going to be exciting to see, you know, how they continue to build this thing out. Like, Pat, you'll be down at the combine. It's going to be good for you to see what prospects are out there firsthand. I know you're probably going to talk to some of these prospects and see what pieces we can add to this team to get us to take the next step in the playoffs. Like, it's really exciting, man.
That's the bottom line, right? How do you get to that next step? We'll have a few pods throughout the offseason talking about that because you were right there. Even with all the mistakes, with all the ups and downs, with trying to figure it out on the fly, you were right there.
Yeah.
One play away from being in the NFC title game. And listen, the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl, so maybe we would have went out to Seattle and it wouldn't have been the best day. But you know what? You never
Yeah.
know. You never know until you get an opportunity to play in that game. So we'll see what ends up happening next year. Let's hope they find a way to get this thing right on track. J-Mac, this is a little bit tougher to do now.
This is tough.
Gotta go defensive player of the year. There's some names that you can look at, but
this was tough.
Defense wasn't exactly the shining unit that we had hoped it was going to be this year.
And this was tough, right? And the funny thing is, when I did this a couple weeks ago on Bears Access Radio with, like I said, with Joni and Thayer, I don't remember who I picked, so this might be different in terms of who I picked for the defense player there. But like you said, Pat, this is very tough. But my pick was, and I know, here we go. What is he talking about? I don't care. Who cares? Nashawn Wright. I picked Nashawn Wright as a defensive MVP. 16 games played, led the NFL in takeaways. He had 5 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. But the critical moments in which he did it, like in Philly, the tush push, right? Philly's about to gain momentum and in the red zone. They go back to their old bread and butter, old faithful, the tush push. We haven't seen it stopped, and what happens? You get in the Nashawn Wright forced fumble recovery to end that drive, to really seize momentum and help the Bears really seal the deal in that game. But time and time again, this guy came up with big plays, a guy who, when they brought him in on this roster, wasn't even thought about. We saw him at a training camp. We're like, dang, who is that big old spider over there at big old corner who looks like a big tarantula with long arms? He's tall, athletic. Like, who is that guy? And just had an opportunity and literally ran with it. And that's what it's about, right? When coaches talk to young players, and you're talking about players, and players are complaining about not getting a chance and not starting and not getting an opportunity, what do we see? Half the time, when an opportunity presents itself, they can't take that opportunity and take advantage of it because they're so busy complaining and not prepared to seize that moment. Well, you have a guy, right, that got that opportunity and literally ran with it, right? It was a takeaway. He took it. He took it away. Went to the Pro Bowl this year, right? He was an alternate, but he should have been in the Pro Bowl this year. And he was in the Pro Bowl after, they announced him as an alternate, but had a big year, man. And that's huge. And that goes back to Coach Harris, pounding his fist on the table to get this guy in here, his coaching and everything that we talked about with all these coaches, getting the most out of these players. And that's why, Nashawn Wright was my defensive MVP.
J-Mac, if you show up with a set of flags, you could play in the Pro Bowl as well. Listen, I can't argue anything you said there, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Defensive MVP for me, Nashawn Wright. I mean, there were so few people in long enough in the season to really pick from. Kevin Byard, you went for with team MVP. I could have went there, but bro, realistically speaking, almost nobody played outside of the D-line that struggled mightily this season, the entire season, because there were injuries all over the place. So you have to go with a guy like Nashawn Wright. I remember going all the way back to training camp. We looked at Nashawn Wright and we're like, okay, he's kind of all right. He's playing that well. He's playing that better than we expected. He's sticking with Rome Odunze. He's climbing the depth chart. Hold on, is this a dude that's actually going to play? And I remember going into the post-practice presser with Dennis Allen and getting his thoughts on him, and DA's still in head coach mode. He's like, listen, this guy, he's out there making plays and doing what we ask of him. They all do what we ask of him, but he's showing something. Yeah. And DA don't give you nothing. Yeah. So when he hit us with he's showing something, it was like, okay, this dude might actually have a chance to play. And he ends up, I love the story of, because it happens so little in the NFL, is your opportunity. Now take it and run all the way with it. He got the opportunity and essentially became the Bears' #1 DB this offseason. During the season, I should say, because Jalen Johnson ends up going down yet again with injury, because Tyreek Stevenson up and down play this year, because of Kyler Gordon being banged up so much this year. He ended up being a key piece for you. And I remember talking to him in the locker room, and he said, if we can get him in 3rd and 7, it's the most advantageous situation that we're going to be in. And a good chunk of those turnovers that he has are in those 3rd and long situations where he just knew where to be. The brain in the game is so important, and I think he has a good one. Got to improve on some things, right? The coverage was ugly.
Yeah, I mean,
the coverage
at times it was. He made a lot of big interceptions too.
100%.
But yeah, this is something he's got to work on. He'll work on it.
He would literally give up a 40-yard pass and then pick the football off the next play.
But that comes with the territory of playing that position. And the main
Yeah.
thing with playing that position is you got to have a short memory. You give up a long touchdown, you go in the tank, you're going to give up another one and another one, and then you're out of whack, and then you're getting replaced. But the great ones, right? Okay, I'm going to give up a big play, but I'm going to come back and make a big play. I'm going to come back and make a big play in a critical situation or game-changing, big momentum type of play, in which he did, time and time again for this Bears season.
I forget who was talking about. I think maybe it was TJ Houshmandzadeh, but he was talking about he got a chance to play against Deion when Deion was on the Ravens, and it was kind of the end. And he was like, I'm kind of getting past Deion. Like, I'm beating him off the line. And Deion start grabbing him, and they call a flag. And he grabbed him again. They called a flag. And he said, hey, Prime, what's all this? This ain't the Prime I know.
Yeah,
he said,
talking trash.
I give you the 15 before I give you 6.
Yeah.
And it was short memory, live to fight another. I'll let you get all the way down this field, but I bet you won't catch that ball in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
That truly, when I heard that, I was like, it's a lot of DBs they can learn from that. You don't want to give up the penalty.
Nah, you don't want
to give up 6.
Yeah, you don't want to give up that touchdown, man.
Well, let's move on here. We got our most improved coming up next. But first, J-Mac, we do got to talk to the people about Underdog real quick. Listen, Underdog make picks, win money, as we have been talking about the entire time. We're in a little bit of a different sports world now. The Olympics are here, J-Mac, and got a little curly. You tapping into the Olympics at all, J-Mac? No? Okay.
Look at my face. Look at my face.
Hey, bro, I seen a downhill skier the other day get a shot to the groin from one of the poles.
I do like the snowboard. The snowboarding that's
hard, bro.
That's awesome. Like, just and no disrespect to anybody, right? I made that face as a joke, but like, man, some of these these guys, some crazy courageous athletes, man.
What's the one where it's like you get on it, not the bobsled joint where all 4 of them are in there, but it's like a single person basically doing like 200 miles an hour down a cliff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm like,
these are some courageous,
heck?
best in the world athletes. There's some good stuff. I've only watched a little bit of snowboarding. So yeah, I got to start tapping in a little bit more.
J-Mac, we got to get an ESPN curling team going, bro. I'm telling you, bro. We get out to front with that broom.
I was about to pick up a dumbbell. I was like, I thought you meant curling. Like, curling.
Not that curling, J-Mac. Gotta slide that rock across. Hey, make sure that you guys stay tapped in with Underdog, man. It's easy. Just pick from your favorite players, whether they get higher or lower on whatever the specific stat might be in the sport that you are enjoying during the Olympics. If you get them right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. That's 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today. Sign up with the promo code CBP to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code CBP. Underdog, make picks, win money. Nick, cue the disclaimer. Must be 18 years or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or over in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Your roof's got more layers than a conspiracy podcast.
Is that a sandwich wrapper?
Ah, yes. Vintage 1988. It really builds character.
Avondale Roofing. Inspect smarter, dig deeper, and get to the core of your roof's health.
Welcome back into the Chicago Bears podcast. I believe EO will be back next week, so enjoying his vacation. 2 weeks over, EO. Big shout out to him, man.
Yes, sir.
In doing a phenomenal job for us, man. Today's episode also brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura. Drive off in under 60 minutes, and they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Las Vegas style gaming, just 30 minutes from Soldier Field. Exit 6 right off of I-80 94. All right, J-Mac. We have gone through our team MVP, offensive player MVP, defensive player MVP. Who was your most improved player of the year this season, J-Mac?
Yeah, I'm going with my guy, DeAndre Swift, a guy who I had confidence in the entire offseason. One of the few here in Chicagoland. Everybody's throwing my guy under the get him off the team. He's trash. He's washed up. He's not getting any yards. He's not running downhill. I told you guys we're going to be all right with DeAndre Swift. So look, little comparison. 2024, 959 yards, he averaged 3.8 yards a carry, right?
Yep.
On 253 carries. So we had more carries last year. This year, he only had 223 carries. Obviously, the emergence of Kyle Monangai took away from some of those carries, but it's good. Need a two-back system. They paired well together. 4.9 yards a carry, Pat. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy, Coach Bieniemy, I know he's not here no more, but he talked about finding 4.5. Well, guess what? DeAndre found 4.9. He didn't find 4.5. He Dana found 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
9 touchdowns.
That's how terrifying EB was. He wanted to make sure he wasn't anywhere close to 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, 9 touchdowns. He was phenomenal to me. I think,
yeah,
you know, with the amount of physicality that he ran with this year, and I think that was something that was a big question mark for him in the offseason last year was, you know, how was he going to fit in this Ben Johnson system, right? We know what Ben Johnson had when he was in Detroit. He had Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, he had David Montgomery. You know, what's DeAndre Swift going to be like in this offense? And we saw what he was like, you know, very valuable component to this offense, did well in the run game and in the passing game. So, you know, big shout out to my guy, DeAndre Swift is my most improved player.
I was gonna go to DeAndre Swift on most improved, but since you picked him, I'll go a different route there. But to echo what you said, I mean, how he came out this season, it's the hardest I've ever seen him run. Remember, he was with Ben Johnson that first year in first and second year, I think, or maybe just the first year in Detroit. And you saw Ben Johnson kind of go away from Swifty, and you know there were a lot of questions on is it he don't like how this guy runs, he don't like how he moves. You went to Jamal Williams, who basically is just a hard head, and I'm going forward.
Yeah,
solid back, but not what we got out of DeAndre Swift, especially this season. I think everything you got out of Swifty was phenomenal, but I got to give credit to one guy if you're talking about most improved, especially on that right side. We've talked about the line a ton here. Darnell Wright, excuse me, let me say it the right way. All-pro Darnell Wright on that right side. There's nothing more fun for me, J-Mac, than going back and rewatching like plays of the season and just seeing a chasm on the right side because Darnell Wright is just murdering people on his way down the field. I am sure Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift enjoyed running behind that very much this season. Did it not only with, you know, I mean, realistically, starting the season, Dan Rashard is very honest about Darnell and said, listen, when he's not focused or when he's focused and he's bringing enough energy, he's a great player.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen play in and play out. I remember looking at Tom Waddle and going, what are your thoughts on that? He was like, there's only two things you can control on a football field, focus and energy. And I don't know if it was the call out. I don't know if it was the work. I don't know, you know, what it was that really got Darnell locked in, but off of an injury to his arm, he came back a better player, a more dominant player, a physical player, and a guy who, you know, Joe Tuni won Protector of the Year, but I think Darnell Wright was in that conversation as well because of the job that he did. Remember, it truly was, you know, a lot of people were having the comparison, me included, of, you know, should you have taken Jalen Carter or should you have gone Darnell Wright? Darnell Wright got to see that matchup and look him in the eye. And Jalen Carter was laying on the ground and Darnell Wright was not. So I got to give credit to the big boys up front, man. To me, my most improved player, from a solid player last year to an all-pro this year, second team all-pro. I think he'll be a first team all-pro next season as his improvement continues.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you can't, like we said, it's good to have options. It's good to have, you know, tough choices and decisions to make because its offense it fared really well. And keep in mind, it's only been Johnson's first year manning this offense. It's only going to get better. Like, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Don't get me excited, J-Mac. I swear. I swear, last night we rewatching it, I'm like, bro, it's got to go up.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to get better. Like, this was so good this year. It's got to get better. Like, just seeing Caleb, seeing how this offense operated. And you know what I think is the most important part of all of it, J-Mac? It's not changing. Couple of pieces here and there, right? Preston Taylor gets promoted to be the offensive coordinator, but we know Ben Johnson's calling the plays and things like that. But it's not, hey, you need to learn a new language, new system, new coaches are coming, new head coach is going to be in here. You got to figure out who this guy is. It's everything the same for the most part. I think that's going to benefit this team so much. And it's going to benefit what I would say arguably is the best rookie class. This is probably the toughest one to pick from of all of the categories that we have here. Our final category, J-Mac, Who's your rookie of the year?
Yeah, man. I listen. A lot of great rookies. Ozzie Trapilo comes in, second round draft pick, right? Plays left tackle, played really well. Kyle Monangai comes in. Nobody knew who Kyle Monangai was post draft. Who's this guy, Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers? And a guy who came in and did a phenomenal job. Really was the identity setter, a tone setter with the football in his hand. But I had to go with a guy who we drafted very high, who we had high expectations for, and lived up to it. And that was Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
58 catches, 713 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Look, led the Bears, the first rookie to lead the Bears in receiving yards since Willie Gault, the first tight end to do so since Mike Ditka. I mean, look at week 9 against Cincinnati, Pat. I mean, he had a 58-yard touchdown reception from Caleb Williams and win the game with 17 seconds. I mean, he made play after play. And it came to a point on third down, right? I forget who coined this phrase, but I thought it was awesome, right? They said, hey, third down is third and Colston, right? It's third and Colston.
Oh, that was KB. That was KB, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to give KB his credit. Leader, our team MVP, KB.
Player,
but it's third and Colston because when there was a play that needed to be made, Caleb didn't care what year you were, rookie, first year, second year, third year, veteran. I need a guy who's going to make a play and has the ability to make a play despite what type of matchup coverage we're getting. I know I got a guy in Colston Loveland who is that guy, who is that dude that's going to make a play. And, that's why he was my top rookie. I mean, he's one of the top rookies in the league, let alone in his team. So Colston Loveland, very excited about his future.
Listen, how the numbers grade out, J-Mac, it's not just he was one of the top rookies in the league. He was one of the top 3 best tight ends in football. The 2 ahead of him, George Kittle and Dalton Kincaid. This is per PFF and how they grade, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think you saw it on display, a true weapon for Caleb Williams, and not just in third down. Those fourth down plays, you could trust Colston. So in the clutch, you're trusting him. On fourth down, you're trusting him. On third down, you're trusting him. Heck, let's get him the ball on second and first if we can. He did so much this season. I'm right there with you. There was a great class of rookies to choose from. Luther Burden, once he got onto the scene, I think Luther Burden is going to be probably one of the best route running wide receivers in football in the coming years here. I think the Kyle Monangai is truly reminiscent of just that hard hat and lunch pail kind of running back that Chicago loves. But when you talk about a game-changing player, and I'll say this, J-Mac, what we've seen dynasties built off of, right? Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, right? Teams that have won for year after year after year after year. You have that quarterback, tight end combo. And I think that you have that with Colston Loveland. He was dominant this season. He had great hands for the most part. I mean, everybody went through some drops this season. And I'll say this. It's part of that's on Caleb Williams as well. Touch. We're going to improve on anything this offseason. A little bit of touch. You don't need to throw a fastball. Somebody's got to give him the old Thomas Jones to Kyle Orton, J-Mac. Somebody's got a tattoo right now.
Don't do that to Caleb. Don't do my guy like that, man.
He just did a little touch, bro. Listen.
Don't do Caleb like that.
When who was it? Was it Theo Benedict that went out for a route?
Yeah. During the game,
it Theo Benedict went out and Caleb fired the football in there to him? I was like, all right, bro, come on, dog. A little bit of touch, bro. But no, I love everything we saw from Colston this year, and I think he's only going to get better. By the way, he missed just about, I believe, all of rookie minicamp.
Yeah.
Just about all of training camp. I don't think he came back for the final couple of weeks. Didn't play really much in preseason at all. And in the regular season, it was, we got to get on the scene and kind of figure this out on the fly.
Yeah, he started out slow, and we were worried. I was worried. Remember, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know.
And we weren't really throwing him the football at all either. Everybody was, Tyler Warren, look at what they're doing to Tyler Warren.
That was it. We were like, man, did we pick the wrong guy? Everybody in Chicagoland was like that.
It was one of those things where it was like, well, listen, Tyler Warren can't catch what's not thrown to him. Yeah, I mean, if there's a process to Ben's madness, let's see what the madness was. On a half a season, essentially, of getting a ton of targets. He is one of the top 3 tight ends in football. So Colston Loveland is my rookie of the year for the Chicago Bears as well, which is good because it means you're starting to draft right. You would hope that the first rookie you selected is the one that you look at and go, yeah, he was the best out of the bunch.
And he's and having time to be around him and interview Colson, a bunch of times this year, truly a good young dude, man, like a good young, football player. Everything's football.
Yeah.
And, obviously a good teammate. You see him and Cole Kmet hit it off, really good friends. And he's a guy that you can build around. And like you're saying, Pat, you talk about the talent on the field. Well, it's very important to have those type of qualities and traits in the locker room, in the organization. A guy who's going to be a culture builder for you, a leader by example. And then obviously as he gets older and stuff like that and more comfortable, he'll develop into a vocal leader. But truly a guy who you didn't miss with when you drafted him, Colson Loveland. No, and is everything 100%. And even more, like for me, looking at, like, we can talk about the receptions. The thing he impressed me the most on this year was his blocking. Like, I was like, man, like this dude is in. Yeah, did he win all the battles? No football player does, but he had his fair share, and he's a willing physical blocker at the point of attack, especially out there on the perimeter with the amount of times that, Ben Johnson loves to run outside zone and the counter schemes and all those things that they did this year. I thought he was great. Cole was great. Colson was great. And for a rookie who had for me, that was my question mark for him. I know what he can do in the passing game. He showed that, but I didn't know how good of a blocker he was. And, salute to Colson, man. I'm so excited to watch him and all these young rookies here in the upcoming years. And also that credit to Ryan Poles, and they did a phenomenal job. And hopefully, they build upon that during this year's draft. So we'll see, man. Good times for the Bears all the way around. I mean,
we're having a good time, man. No, I agree with you 100%. I'll say this, J-Mac, too. The outlier for him, tight ends like that usually don't block. Like they're usually literally not asked to block. Travis Kelce is a terrible blocker. But he gonna go down there, he gonna catch you them touchdowns. So you just go, whatever it is, what it is, right? Like, But you usually don't see guys like that. Like George Kittle was probably the outlier in that conversation before Colston Loveland came into the league. So seeing that, and it shows that they embodied what Ben said at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. No block, no rock.
No block, no rock.
You better figure out how to block somebody out there. Hey, man, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let us know who your team MVP was, your offensive player. Oh, we got one more?
Special teams.
Oh, see, you didn't send me special teams.
I did.
You didn't send me the special teams.
I did.
Oh, no, we're not going to disrespect it then. We can't do you gonna finish with special teams.
I was gonna show you. I sent it to you, but I won't. But here's the thing: special teams. My special teams MVP.
Special teams MVP. Who you got?
Cairo Santos, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Like week 16, he's the NFC Player of the Week. 3 field goals, 51-yard field goal, 46-yard field goal, 43-yard field goal, and an onside kick against the Packers. Right? Week 11, 48-yard game-winning field goal. The Bears beat the Vikings 19-17, set up by Duvernay, big kickoff return.
Yeah.
But Cairo sealed the deal with the kick. I mean, Green Bay versus Green Bay, week 18, game winner, right? 51-yard field goal, week 18. Like time and time again when it mattered most. In all those terrible conditions at Soldier Field, swirling winds, snow coming everywhere, like sleet, rain, all kind of stuff. You get that Chicago mix, and I ain't talking about Garrett's popcorn, caramel, and cheese. I'm talking about wind, rain, and sleet, Pat. Cairo was consistent. And we talk about the strength of his leg. I get it. But when it mattered most, the guy came through. So shout out to you, Kairos, my boy, Cairo Santos, baby.
Now, J-Mac, you got to show all the love in the world to Cairo. But give me a Scott Daly. No, I'm just playing. I'm joking.
Hey, man, the snap's the most important. The
snap is the most important part of it, J-Mac.
So shout out. Hey, and Scott Daly got a little swag on him, man. He's out there with his Jordan 1 cleats on. You know what I mean? My guy, Scott Daly. Hey, and I'll tell you this about Scott Daly, though, right? You would think, oh, what is a long snapper during the game? He's sitting there eating sunflower seeds, drinking up all the chicken broth when it's cold. You know what I'm saying? He's eating a hot dog at halftime. No, my guy Scott Daly's out there snapping nonstop. And he's engaged in the game. Yeah. So much respect to you, Scott Daly. When we're not talking about you as a snapper, that means you're doing something right. It means you're consistent. And, we had a really good snapper, and Pat Manley was awesome. And I think they got another good one here in Scott Daly. So shout out to you too, Scott. You made it all go.
Hey, listen, nothing moves without Scott Daly. Sometimes he would throw that head in there too and get a little shy. I mean, the little chicken wing up in there. No.
No. I respect the effort. But we don't want you making tackles, Scott.
I don't want him doing too much.
Don't do too much, man. We need to snap. Don't do too much.
Hey, well, when you're a snapper, is your one arm just jacked? you're just snapping with the one arm all day. Like it's just one arm just. No, it is funny you said that. I remember they like panned the sideline a couple times. I was like, yo, this dude never stops snapping the football.
He's always snapping.
He's always snapping the football. So.
He's always engaged in the game. He's snapping. Cairo's always kicking in that net. Like it's the reason why they were an important part of this team. Much respect to the special teams unit. Much respect to Coach Hightower. Like here's the thing, Pat, and I know we're going to close this out, but we got to give credit to there's some guys who didn't get awards, and obviously we mentioned a lot of coaches, and we didn't mention some other coaches, but from the top down, Declan Doyle, he's not here, but very instrumental in the preparation, the game planning, the breaking down the film, and all of these things, so that way Coach Johnson can put together a really good game plan and make the right calls throughout the game. Richard Hightower. How many times did we see, this team when it mattered most? Special teams was a big part of this team. Look at the block kick in Vegas, the onside kick recovery, Green Bay, the Duvernay big timely kickoff returns. Even Dennis Allen. We talked about all the yards they gave up, but the defensive staff in its entirety. Guys in and out of the lineup. You get DeMarco Jackson coming in playing well. You get Eamon Agbagbamiga coming in playing well. Nick McLeod comes in and made some plays and had to step up, when he had to. You're missing Kyler Gordon half the season. It's like this whole coaching staff, I give them a lot of credit for the development that they had amongst this entire roster, not just the starters. And when you want to be an elite team or a team that's going to have success, you're going to have to count on all 53. Even those guys on the practice squad, they got to be prepared and ready. And this coaching staff did a really good job of, we say next man up, but when that next man up had an opportunity to go in the game, he was prepared and he made significant contributions and an impact on the game. So shout out to this whole entire, Ben Johnson's first year coaching staff did a tremendous job.
I love how Ben Johnson stated. He said that I had a 5-star studded staff.
Yeah,
he truly did. From top to bottom. We said it coming into the season. I talked about. I was like, this is one of the best coaching staffs I've ever seen in the city of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it is,
bar none. Yeah, this is one of the most phenomenal coaching staffs that we've ever seen. And I think the offseason has shown that as a bunch of guys have gotten interviewed. 2 guys have been poached already. 2 guys, Declan, EB. That it?
Declan, EB so far.
Al interviewed didn't.
I think Al's coming back, right?
I believe Al is coming back. Yeah.
It's still a long off season, but I hope
Press Taylor got promoted from within. You know what I mean?
We talked about that. Press Taylor, the familiarity. We knew that was a possible consideration. But yeah, I think you still got a lot of key pieces on this coaching staff, and it's exciting. It's good times.
No, it's definitely good. It's better times that we've had in a long time being Bears fans. So big bear downs to you guys. As I was saying earlier, let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. Who's your team MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, special teams player of the year, your most improved, and your rookie of the year. Drop that list in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, for Jason McKie, this is your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love.